Hello, everyone, and today I have got the most incredible guest. I am joined today live on Brilliant Speaker with Safaraz Ali. Hi, Safaraz, thank you for being on Brilliant Speaker today.
Mark, thank you so much. Really appreciate you actually coming over today, in particular, because I know most of yours are done by video call and video conferencing, and you've actually specifically come over to our offices, which is incredible in that respect. So thank you so much, Mark.
It's my pleasure. Safaraz is a serial entrepreneur, head of Pathway Group, CEO, and he's going to share lots of his wisdom with us today.
I'll try my best.
So let's jump straight into the questions, Safaraz. Can you share your story and what led you into being such a super successful businessman?
Thank you so much. Much appreciate that. Firstly, I love the word story. I did a little bit of a canny bite on that in terms of people should share their story or particularly backstory. We do business with people, and yes, I can talk about what's in it for you, but you want to most people want to know about that person, particularly the journey that they've had, because we're looking to ways to connect with individuals. So my background is financial services, but it wasn't something that I planned. Like most people, nobody talks about planning to get into a particular sector, and I think it's our circumstances, being at the right place, right time, and the people that are around us that influence and have a and sort of sometimes directors or have an element of impact on our lives. In terms of my own particular journey, it started sort of in business nearly sort of 18, 19 years now, and the whole world has changed since the 18, 19 years. In terms of myself, I'm involved in the sector of recruitment. We're involved in skills and training, domiciliary care, and recently been doing a lot of events and networking, which is where we got connected with your good self. Been introduced to the sort of professional speaker circuit, and really sort of it's changed. I mean, the whole 80 years I can sort of dissect it into compartments and bits, but in terms of where we are now, it's a combination of sort of self development, networking, and sort of social type of businesses. So businesses that make an impact and make a difference to somebody's life. So that's the nutshell in terms of where we are now, Mark.
So it sounds like a really exciting 18 years, and from what you're saying, there's been lots of changes, adapting, which is really important in business,
Yeah,
isn't it? To
yeah,
change
yeah.
and adapt with the
Yeah,
times.
Mark. I mean, as the whole sector has changed. I mean, we're constantly changing. I mean, my role has changed. What I do on a day to day basis has changed. For me now is about bringing people on the right skill sets. It's also really about the journey of understanding my own sort of skill sets as well, and my own constraints, what I'm good at, what I'm not so good at, what I need to develop. Uh, I, you know, I, my natural sort of space is really I'm a shy, retiring guy. I'm very introverted, and I've never been fully comfortable in public speaking or any form of even conversations. I mean, I would get nervous having a one-to-one with somebody of your caliber of an individual, Mark, and I've had to sort of develop. So my sort of background is more sort of technical, as I said, from a financial services sector. So a lot of actuarial type work, a lot of number crunching, maths, and working on my own. And when you go into business, regardless of what business you're in or who you're in, you're always going to deal with people. So I can't be sitting in the back, unfortunately, or fortunately, really, because I'm sort of enjoying it now. But for me, that was the biggest change. So in terms of adapting and changing, you personally have to adapt and change, not just in terms of as a business, and it's constantly changing. So it's a shame in any shape or form if you or anybody is the same person that they were last year or whatever, because you haven't grown. And we're in the space of growing and constantly growing, and we've got to push ourselves. And when you look back and reflect to say, what, this is where I was, and this is where I am now. And if you've been stretched and challenged, and you're in a better position, then I think I'm all for it, and I think that's the way to be. We can't stay where we are. Definitely, that's you're going backwards, you've got to keep pushing yourself.
Personal development, it's a lifelong journey, isn't it? It's not something you just start and it stops. You constantly having to grow. And like you've said, when you go out of the comfort zone, that's where you really start to grow at the most, when you're out of your comfort zone.
Definitely, you got to challenge yourself, Mark, and ideally, you want to be in a position where you are stretching that comfort zone. Sometimes, I mean, I talk about that. My advice to people is maybe not to completely go out of your comfort zone. Consider mild discomfort. So do small things, small steps rather than the bigger steps. What happens is sometimes people stretch it so big or so far that it's sort of yes, they're challenging themselves, but they only do it the once, and it's a matter of having those small steps, mild discomfort, and what you're then doing is stretching the comfort zone, and then as a result of stretching it, that then becomes your comfort zone. So your comfort zone stretches as well, and it's really sort of getting to understand that. Sometimes you can frighten somebody so much by putting them into the deep end, and yes, it is a challenge, and sometimes you want to see how you react to that. But it's for most people, it's a matter of the habitual things, doing things on a regular basis, and what you'll find is you'll be better at it rather than trying to do it in one go and all in one level.
So rather than seeing a big mountain in front of you, you just take very small steps up to the next level. I totally agree with that.
That's something that I'm trying to do, and my ambition in terms of developing myself is actually to look at my sort of presentation skills. My team personally. I mean, there was a moment in my sort of life that even as the CEO, I wasn't doing any public speaking with for our organization, and I think the team wanted to hear from me. So my communication with internally was via email. At that time was one-to-ones, and I would struggle having a sort of a team meeting with a few more people. Struggle maybe even having standing up and talking to the team. So for me, it's that element of really gradual progression, but you've got to be emotionally savvy, emotionally aware yourself, and a lot of this is really connecting to that, having that emotional intelligence, and then really just testing that. And it's like a fitness level, and the more emotionally aware you are, the more emotionally savvy you become, and then you build better relationships. You're able to form stronger bonds and connections, and you're in a much better place, much better space. And I think for me, and like for many others, I'm 46 now, and I still feel I've got a lot to give. Touch wood, and I'm still feeling life. They say life begins in 40, and I'm sort of developing particularly in the last sort of 2-3 years now, and with technology, really, with the likes of the social media that we're doing, Facebook Live and so forth, it just allows you to more opportunities where we never probably had those opportunities before. I'm fairly comfortable. It's a conversation, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, the whole world might be watching, but as far as I'm concerned, it's just you and I. We're having a lovely conversation, and just changing that mindset really to to be more comfortable with even making mistakes. And it's not, the world doesn't end with having a mistake, and just being a little bit more chilled and relaxed, and just being more comfortable with yourself, and just being in a space where you got the right people around you. And I think that's a big thing for me anyway, Mark.
I definitely think having been surrounded by the right people is really, really, really important, and also making mistakes. That's another great point. So many people want perfection, but you have to make mistakes sometimes so that you move forwards and grow. So some great little tips of wisdom there, Safaraz, and we haven't even started on the questions yet.
Well, I really, really appreciate it. And honestly, I've read your book in terms of your tips and obviously your journey, and you were kind enough to be a speaker for us. And the position I'm in now, I'm meeting so many incredible people, and I'm thinking, maybe our paths wouldn't, maybe you wouldn't, before, maybe even 3-4 years ago, you would have been in a different area of life, and obviously you're a professional hairdresser, you're a professional speaker, and so forth. And maybe our paths, wouldn't have crossed because different community, different sort of area, and so forth. But now I'm just loving the fact that I can meet different people, learn from individuals, and just develop. And the more you're able to take on board, it's just incredible. And just loving it at the moment, Mark.
Pathway has been so supportive to me. I've spoken here before. I'm speaking again in Telford on the 4th of September. Yeah. So I really love what you do here at the group. So that brings me on to my next question. You're the CEO and the founder of Pathway Group, which is lots of things. It's not just one thing. So can you just share a bit about what Pathway Group is so people understand it better, a little bit about all the different sections?
I appreciate that. So Mark, it's fairly diverse in terms of an organisation. We have an arm which is about giving back, which is really where the networking comes in. So we've been in the networking sector since 2012, and started off really with the name Pathway to Grow. There wasn't any of the sub brands, and what we were doing was really connecting with business owners. Creating free events. Most of our events are free. We're not a membership organisation in any shape or form. We're not about upselling or cross-selling people. It's really a loose membership organisation, and it's a community that we've created. So as a business, we wanted to create a community, and we wanted individuals to particularly definitely connect with each other, but also at the same time really work within that community to sort of peer support, mentor, and have opportunities for people to network, learn, and grow. That's our sort of tagline: network, learn, and grow. And that was the whole aim of it. And we do that at our cost. We run free events. All our directors that run these events are volunteers. They're not paid for positions. They've got a sort of a community that they create and nurture and sort of enable and grow. So we're, as you said, for the last year and so we've been in Telford, but we started off in Birmingham. Head office is here, and we've been running the sub brands. Coffee and Natter is a daytime event. We have so it's a sort of a 1 o'clock, 1:30 start to sort of 3:30, mainly in the daytime. And it's aimed at people who are able to come at those times. So people who are business owners, starting off in business, again, people who treat networking, who look at networking as part of their role in terms of development and so forth. So we moved away from, a lot of the networking events previously were morning events, a lot of events for morning or in the evening. And so we sort of looked at that space in terms of afternoon and try to sort of dominate that particular space. So we created a brand called Coffee Natter. And we say actually, we provide the coffee, you come in, and do the natter effectively, and so it's a more casual environment. We then moved into an evening event called Chutney and Chat, and again that's been going for 2 and a bit years. Very successful in Birmingham, month in, month out, sort of 70, 80, 100 people in the room. We're getting speakers from all over the country coming over and wanting to speak. The speakers have come sort of 300-400 miles, 500-mile round trip that are coming over and looking to grow their businesses, but also giving back. And we're very open to that. We don't pay our speakers in terms of a fee, but we give them the opportunity to speak to an audience where they can actually connect with that audience and effectively have a sort of a community of themselves that they can sort of create and nurture and so forth. And we're very flexible on that, and we work on a very open basis with individuals. And we say, if you're giving your time, we'll promote you as much as we can, and we would. And it's not just about that speaking gig or that speaking event, but it's also we sort of embrace that relationship on a longer term basis. And exactly with yourself, so Mark, we've met as a result of a speaking event, but you've been kind enough to assist and give myself and my team even technical advice on the book. We came to you, Brad came to you to say, actually, Mark, you've written a book and published it. can you give us a little bit of advice on this? And you and I communicated and said, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with this create space and this, that, and other. And you were very giving in that aspect. So we try and embrace our community, work with them any way we can. If we can refer business to them, if we can bring them in and work with them in any way, shape, or form, videos, content. We sell our speakers and promote our speakers effectively to others. We've created a sub brand which is for ladies. We realize that ladies sometimes want an environment which is just specifically for women only, for ladies, and that concept is called Samosa Saturday. So slightly unusual. It's on a Saturday afternoon. It's on ice. It's on a sort of sometime more than likely it's on a monthly basis. We probably do 10 events in a year, and that's just ladies getting together and again professional women predominantly sharing with each other and learning from each other. But apart from the actual events, there's an online community. So there's a WhatsApp group. There's a lot of activity on there, and it's probably one of our main mechanisms of communicating, or at least the community communicating with each other. So there's a WhatsApp group for the Samosa Saturday, for the chutney and chat, for the coffee and that. There's also the Facebook groups as well. So it's many ways that the community can interact. We've then gone and set up something called Peer Meetup, which is it's more industry specific. So we also realize that we've got conventional networking taking place, whether that's coffee night or chutney chat or the Samosa Saturday, but we wanted also a concept for industry professionals to connect with each other. So Peer Meetup is for peers to meet up. Very simple, exactly as the name is. So we started off with our sector training at our sort of training provider sector, and that's been going for 2.5 years. Where we've already announced that we're going to be setting up a property peer meetup, and that's coming very soon. And we've already made sort of announcements in terms of who's running it and how we're going to be doing it. Again, looking to do it slightly differently to all the other sort of property networking events that are out there, and really looking at giving more back in terms of networking. In terms of our other businesses, we run events. So some of these are bigger events. So we do something called the Asian Apprenticeship Awards, and set that up in 2016. And this year, well actually 2018, we had the Business Book Awards. So now going into the second year of Business Book Awards. Again, these are more cause related. So Asian Apprenticeship Awards was for a specific reason, a specific cause to actually promote particularly the British Asian community to take up apprentices. Again, you're coming from the hairdressing background, you realize that apprentices can actually be a big boost for somebody's career. It's not just about the academic route. And again, not just what we found, but the statistics, the government statistics, national statistics the government produces, realize we're found actually glaringly obvious that particularly British Asians in certain areas they're the minority, but they're not progressing into the apprenticeship sector. So the apprenticeship area was suffering because that community wasn't really embracing it. They were more going into university, and so we were overrepresented. British Asians were overrepresented in university, but underrepresented in terms of apprenticeships, underrepresented in terms of even employers engaging in that. So that was the Pacific cause that we did, and then with the Business Book Awards as well, the Pacific cause of encouraging entrepreneurs really to share their story, share their journey in the form of a business book. For them to sort of get to grow their brand, however there is to, and encourage more people to write, but also at the same time read as well. We learn from books more than anything else. Yes, we can. Long gone are the days where you're gonna probably roll onto a long-term course. But we want information that we can adapt and pick up on. So you want to sort of learn something maybe at 11 o'clock and and sort of implement it at 12 o'clock. And one of the best ways of doing this is through reading, and you know, the information is there, and you can sort of implement that. So you know, so we've got events, we've got networking, and then there's a sort of a side to the business which is skills and workforce. So you know, we're in the space of working with long-term unemployed. You know, we've held a work program contract now for about 9 years, which is working with people that unfortunately haven't been able to get gainful employment. So people who sort of are you know, fall into small temporary jobs, or just can't seem to keep a job, and working with them individuals and training them, but for the purpose of developing a sort of a career for them, as well as people who may be employed but at the bottom end of the employment ladder. So really developing their skill sets so they can grow and add more to the economy. So you know, there's a skills and work business. So our bread and butter in terms of what keeps us going is really the skills and work business. The other sort of causes which we're sort of, you know, very passionate about, and then we've got our element of giving back, which is the business networking. So a long sort of answer to a question, Mark, and you've been kind enough to listen and allow me to say to sort of explain as much as I can. So thank you.
You're doing lots of great work here, and how great that you're helping the people that need the help. There's so many people out there, young people who haven't got the skills, and you're actually out there helping those kind of people, which is, they're probably the people that need it the most. So that must feel really rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, when you see success, and particularly success stories that you've impacted or had some sort of impact on, it's the best place to be. And the joy that you get from somebody where you've seen their journey and you've seen them travel in terms of growth, it's just fantastic. I mean, you know, personally, we've seen businesses, startup businesses, just with a you know, a concept, you know, being formed, you know, and potentially in some cases changed slightly, because you know, we have a plan and sometimes it changes, but then you know, creating jobs, creating employment. Sometimes people go into certain things for a lifestyle business, and sometimes they go into terms of actually, you know, a faster growth, you know, a unicorn or a, you know, faster growth type businesses. But whatever their plans are, whatever their ambition is, you know, to see them achieving their goals, you know, whatever level that is, I think is tremendous in terms of satisfaction. And I think what it does is it just, you know, you sort of it impacts on you positively. And I use the word, you know, from school. I remember this word called osmosis, and what happens is that, you know, you sort of embrace it, and it impacts on you. And it's like, you know, like now your energy, you know, I'm sort of feeding off from that energy, and we have that, and I think that's the same when you see these success stories, not just in terms of business owners, but also in terms of the impact, in terms of, you know, people's lives that change. You know, we're talking about young people that, you know, go into an apprenticeship route, and you know, you see them then develop. We're talking about people that have been long-term unemployed, have given up. You know, I've got, you know, they're in a position where very negative, and you can tell from their sort of body language, from their sort of communication style, they've really given up on themselves. And you know, to a certain level, they feel the world has given up on them, and being able to sort of turn that around, it's just magnificent, and I think that's just fantastic. So you know, our business, a lot of it is about social, which is, you know, having that social impact, and a lot of our work that we do is about people. So you know, one of the other areas that we work in is domiciliary care. So we have a home care business, and you know, you see the individuals that, you know, you're working with. Some of them unfortunately can't, you know, look after themselves. They're in need, and you know, then you're able to impact on them, and you realize that yes, we can always look at the person in front of us, but the satisfaction in terms of your own personal, uh, you're just more the gratitude that you get is when you start looking at the people behind you, and you see all of these people that for whatever reason are in a possibly slightly worse position, and you're worse position, and you feel an element of gratitude, and think what, we need to be more grateful. It's not just about what next, and how do I do what, it's and that element of satisfaction that you get is just incredible. So there's different ways of this, and I said just in terms of where I am now, in terms of space I'm in now, just very comfortable with myself, very comfortable with comfortable in a nice way. Comfortable, we're still stretching, and comfortable, still sort of challenging. I don't want to say I'm sitting on my laurels there, but comfortable in terms of satisfaction, the fact that where we are, and so forth. I can't say to you that everything's gone to plan, and 18 years back I would have thought I was here, because we are in an age, and personally myself, we judge ourselves sometimes a little bit harshly by age. you know, I want to be here by the age of 25. I want to be here by the age of 28, and I want to do this by the age of 30. And I still see that with youngsters. I want to do this now by this age, and this now by this age, and so forth. You know, and at times it doesn't go to plan. Most of the time, it doesn't go to plan, but it's how you sort of adapt to it, react to it, and the mindset that you have. So, yeah, fairly, fairly good.
I what really stood out for me with there, because I think we're all guilty of looking at people and striving to be like that, but to look back and to help the people that are behind you, I really like that, and I can really relate that you get more gratitude from helping people that need it. So
I mean, as I said, we're probably 1% or 2% in terms of world population. The fact that we've got a roof over our heads. I mean, it's easy to say that, and I've seen so many people say that, but actually to appreciate that, it's fantastic. We had Ramadan three months ago, and you go into a period where self-reflection, and however you do it in terms of spiritually, whatever the case is, I think it's necessary for us as individuals to be to think away from the run of the mill, and just take time out. And for me, part of that is having these sort of conversations, because when it's harder sitting there and thinking about it, but when you're having a conversation, you're talking out loud, and and for me, that's an element of sort of development, and being more self-aware. So I enjoy these sort of conversations. It's difficult, as I said, it's different when you're sort of doing a presentation, but when you're having a discussion like this, or a panel discussion, what you find is there's more reflection, and I gain more from these conversations. So I always, whenever there's an opportunity, and if somebody knocks on the door and says, "Would you like to be interviewed?" or so forth, and I love to take that opportunity, because it's an opportunity for me to also be more reflective, for me to sort of think about where it is. Obviously listen to the host, and learn from the host, but also at the same time, the questions allow you to. It's all in the questions allow you to sort of be a little more reflective. So I definitely enjoy these opportunities, and really appreciate the opportunity you've given me. I've seen some of your interviews, some of the interviews that you've done are people that I've looked up to. Beju Solanki is a chap that I've known for many years, 15 years. We were online together on Academy. There's other people that I've known for less time, but we've formed a relationship. Lucy, the founder of the Business Book Award, we kind enough to do. So I sort of always look out for these interviews, because there's nuggets of wisdom, there's nuggets of gold there, and there's so many people that you can learn from, and what we do is we bring it back to ourselves. So you listen to the person, and what you're doing is you're sort of bringing it back to yourself, and you're learning from that. And for me, it's just fantastic in terms of the opportunity that that you're doing, and it's a commitment that you're on. So I'm definitely, I would say, up there in terms of your biggest fan, Mark. And I
Well,
really
thank
appreciate.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to just say, well, I'm really happy you're my guest as well, and
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying interviewing you.
Yeah.
Can we give Zaf some hearts? He's sharing all his wisdom today. Please feel free to share the broadcast. That brings me to networking. Obviously, Pathway to Grow, you've got Coffee Natter, Chutney Chat, you've got Samosa Saturday, peer-to-peer. Networking in business is so important, and you can gain so much from networking. Can you just share some best practice so that we know how to get the best out of networking?
I tell you one thing I will say, Mark, is that I've probably changed my thought on that and my answers to it as well, and I can give tips and I can give sort of my sort of view on it. My sort of general view now is that really there's less and less rules. Don't be too fixated with certain rules in terms of do this and don't do this and so forth. Be more in terms of understanding why you're doing it and what the purpose is. It's not always about going out there and finding business. Some people do it in terms of finding potential partners, collaborators. Some do it in terms of actually going in and developing their own self as well. So really understand your purpose, really why you want to do it in terms of what the real reason is. The thing that bugs me slightly, again, I'm not trying to bring too much negativity, is where people think of it as just people for networking is for people starting off their business. And if you start off your business and you get a little bit busier, then you don't have time for networking. And I'm of the opinion that it's networking to the development and growth, and networking for partnerships. And it should be just as we need customers, we need to nurture and look after those customers. You go to networking to grow yourself. You go into networking to meet people, and you just never know. You just never know where that could lead to. You need to be more open in terms of where it is. In terms of tips, in terms of whether you have a card and how you do your elevator pitch and so forth. These are too hard and fast for me. I say what, come from a position of don't in terms of your language, don't talk down to people. It's really trying to develop relationships, trying to form relationships, not trying to necessarily sell. There may be opportunities, and but it's really going into a position where you don't necessarily have to have a return on investment, which you measure on the basis of what am I going to get out of it. I'm less about hard and fast rules now. I said my mind has changed on that. I've done videos on it. Videos on about bravado. I've done videos on about about pleasantries and how you can how you can pep up the pleasantries rather than talking about the weather. You can talk about something else and so forth. I've written on about networking for partnerships rather than for business. So my views, some of them have changed. Some of it is the same, but I'm saying, what, don't be too hard on yourself in terms of what I want to get out of it. You don't have to have a big massive plan and objectives. You can go into an environment where things happen naturally. Just be open to it. Go with the right attitude. And if you have the same attitude that you have in life, which is from a positive position of positivity, things will come to you. And I think that's the general ethos I would say to people. If somebody's got the viewpoint of should I do it or should I not, if they need to be convinced, I sort of I don't try and convince people. I don't try and convince people. If it's I say just give it a go. If it's for you, fantastic. If it's not for you, then maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you've got other priorities in your life. I've gone where I'm debating with people anymore, trying to win them over to say, what, yes, you have to do this, and this is where it is. I'm not on a crusade in terms of people should do it. But people who are in networking and who are able to sustain it know the value of it. And if if somebody else can say, I've gone to a particular event, or I've done this, and this has brought me some, some value, I've gained from it. It's been fruitful for me. Then fantastic. Personally speaking, uh, uh, I've gained by learning from people. I've gained by having making friends. I've gained by having good associates. We've gained from partnerships from people. We've gained from having people that are positive about us. Raving fans, if I dare say, use that phrase. It's resulted in people having conversations about us, which has led on to other things. But it doesn't have to be all captured. It doesn't have to be all put into a CRM and worked out to say what X amount of money is coming. And if you're stretching and being challenged, and we're talking about being stretched and challenged and growing, and then I'm all for it. Not all networking events are the same. You've got to pick your community. Sometimes you gel with people, sometimes you don't, and you just got to find the right community, the right group for you. And I regard them as communities. If one doesn't work, then maybe there's something else. But don't write it off. But don't be over fanatical to say this is the only way to grow your business. So I'm not one which is hard and fast rules. There's some people which would say networking is the way, and if you're not doing it, you're not going to grow your business. And then there's the other side which actually waste of time. Or different strokes for different people, different ways, and just get to be comfortable in terms of what works for you.
You picked up some great points there. I don't like being sold to at networking events. It's so annoying when people come and try and sell you things. You're like, it's about building relationships and friendships. Yeah. Don't give me your sales pitch on the day, please. Wait for a few days at least. But I like what you say about being open, showing a certain level of commitment to networking and building relationships. You picked up some really great points there about networking.
Consistency as well, Mark. I mean, if you go to one event and something happens on that particular event and it's not right for you and so forth, don't write it all off. I mean, I think people can be too short term as well, can be too judgmental on certain things. And just taking your stride. I mean, if somebody says, "Well, you've got to follow up and you've got to send an email to them and so forth," there's no rules. It's not like you're not sitting an exam where you've got to answer it in a particular way. Why? Yes, fine. If that works for them, that works for them. But there's opportunities where people do follow up, but sometimes people don't follow up. Don't be too sort of rigid in certain things. And what you'll find is that you have your own style, you have your own way of doing things, and that's fine. There's so many people who've done videos on this. There's so many books on it. I mean, people have written on it. I mean, I've got a chapter on in my own book on networking, and I'm trying to take a balanced approach. But even my view has changed in the last few months, in the last year. I mean, I'm still I still sort of believe in what in that, but it's evolving. It's
ever changing.
Yeah.
I did actually like what you said about knowing why you're doing something and going back to your purpose, because sometimes you can just get caught up in life and doing things, and then you get lost in what you're doing and not actually thinking about why you're doing it. So I do think that's a really big point, to know why you're doing something and go back to your purpose. Please show Saf some love, share the broadcast. If you want to ask any questions, please type them in and we'll answer them after the broadcast. That brings me to my next question. Can you share a top tip for being a business success? Just a tip or piece of wisdom for building success.
Okay. There's so many things we can talk about here, Mark. What I would say is that for me, my biggest thing is that I've moved away from thinking it's all about me. My sort of viewpoint is that there's no one individual that can say they're completely self-made. Yeah, and if you can if you can adapt that approach, the fact that you're not self-made, and the people talk about self-made businessman, self-made millionaire, and all this sort of stuff. There's going to be somebody in that journey for that individual, and it's understanding the fact that we're regardless of the business that we're in, we're always going to be impacted, and there's going to be impact by the people that we surround ourselves in. So I think it's absolutely vital, regardless of how you develop your marketing skills and presentational skills and your technical knowledge and so forth. The people that you are in, there's many things about we're a combination of the people that we're in, or five of we're a combination of the five we're in. That concept I really believe in. The peer support, the people that you surround yourself in the property game, talk about a power team, and in other sectors there's different terminologies, and it's that network that you've got, that support that you've got, the people you've got as your sort of advisory board, whatever the title is, the people that you can pick up the phone and have a conversation with, and what it'll do is it'll help you in your own thought process. And Mark, honestly, it's not sometimes about what that individual says. So if I come to you and say, Mark, I want to pick your brain, it may be you might share a nugget of gold, but because I'm sort of vocaling and talking out loud in terms of what my issue is, it allows me to think better in terms of what my problem is, being able to talk about it to people. And sometimes the person can say a certain thing that can then have an impact, but it's having those trusting relationships where you're having to have discussions, and it's having that element of who you can have a conversation with, who you can have a relationship where there's no judgmental thoughts. The person's there for the right reasons. There's no sort of end game with that. There's no games being played, and having that element of people, it'll help you considerably. I speak about having that support where people who are at the sort of same level as you, having people that you can sort of look up to, finding a mentor that can sort of guide and support you. I don't think there's one person that could do all of that. I think it's impossible to have one person to do that. But it's having a network of people, and actually going out, and that's why I say network for partnerships, good network to go and find these individuals, because they're not going to come to you. And it's normally, from my experience, that I would say it's if your starting point is it's not normally your friends, and it's not normally your family, and you got to go out of that normal circle. And I found the fact that for me, my family, my relationship, the relatives I have a different relationship with them, and I'm a different person to a certain level when I'm talking to maybe somebody who I would call in my inner circle, and I can talk to them openly. I can share my fears, I can share my sort of vulnerabilities, I can share my sort of thoughts, and what it'll do is it'll allow me to sort of be better and make better decisions, and to a certain level, strive to where I want to be. And again, it's but there's no one person. In my opinion, I don't think there is one person that would do all of that. I also, now where I am in terms of my own, I want to have people that I can also be regarded as part of their advisory board, so I can mentor people as well. And I love to sort of give back in that aspect, because if I'm talking to them and I'm discussing with them, I'm also learning as well. And I'm sort of fully of the opinion, when one teaches to learn. So if I'm teaching somebody else, or I'm showing somebody else, I'm also learning as well. So so having a peer sort of support for people who are on the same level as you, people who are maybe ahead of the journey of as yourself, and also people that are maybe in a different sector, but again have got no ills and positivity in terms of what they can bring in. So they've got maybe a completely different way of thinking. Sometimes you call it left field or whatever, completely different way of thinking, because we can be slightly blinkered in our thinking and our approach. But that will allow you to make better decisions, allow you to make better, you're better in terms of and you'd be more, I think, more informed yourself. And that's a combination. It's ingredients. It's not just one ingredient. It's a number of ingredients. And I think that's definitely my biggest thing. But you have to. I mean, it's easy to say this, but you have to have an open mindset. You've got to be in a position where you can change your mind. If your view is this is me and this is my pitch and I'm not changing it, then it becomes more difficult. And it's being comfortable with changing your mind. It's comfortable to adjust your position. It's being comfortable being allowing yourself to be persuaded by other people, but also at the same time where you need to persuade them as well. But again, everything is in a balance. You can overdo it, but it's in a balance, and it's actually those are the sort of things that I tend to sort of lure, and I'm trying to generalize a little bit because every business journey is different. Everybody goes into business or goes into a career for a different reason, and we all have our own sort of ambitions. And some people, as I said, do it for lifestyle. Some people do it for another reason. And we have our own targets, and sometimes, but I'm, generalizing. These are the sort of things I would say to anybody who's on that sort of journey.
You've really gave some great tips for business and definitely relationships. I do agree. Relationships are so important. Getting the right people around you. That was a great point what you made. But also what stuck out the most for me there is having an open mind. It's no good being in business and having like a really old-fashioned mindset. And this is how I've always done it, because the world of business is, I mean, even a year ago, things have changed to now. So having an open mind, that really stood out to me. So
I mean, there's I tell you what, Mark. I mean, I've had people who say, you know what, Facebook is for whatever. I don't want to do it. Yeah, and what you're doing is you're sort of attacking something, but there's no need. If it doesn't work for you, fine. But if you've got a mind which is, what, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, and so forth, and you're being negative, then there's no value. You're not adding any value to anybody, let alone yourself, and you're doing more harm to some people. So I've had people who used to say to me, "Why are you wasting your time on LinkedIn? Go on to Facebook as an example, or just people forget social media. You need to do this, and so forth, and I think that could be too sort of you can go the other way as well. You can be too sort of tough on certain things, and what you're doing is you're putting a position on a certain thing, and I think that's for me. I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to be thinking, you're talking nonsense. But for me, that's a closed mindset.
yes,
and that's how I see it. I mean, this it's just negativity for the sake of negativity. I as an individual, I wouldn't regard myself, even so. Long time back, I wouldn't regard myself as IT savvy or technical, but I'm sort of comfortable in the space of technology, comfortable with social media. As I said, I'm comfortable now doing videos and so forth. I've had to change. I could have said, well, actually, I don't want to do this and so forth, and take a position on it. And sometimes it's really understanding your weakness. These are weaknesses, effectively, and saying, what, if it's important for me, if it's important for the right reason, then I want to try and overcome that weakness and growing. And the less you can be fixated on a position, I think it's better. Yes, yes, you should have a vision on certain things, but a lot of these are small things which are not part of an overall vision, but we get so bogged down by it, and so sort of it's judgmental and determined not to do it, and try and convince other people and forget about all the positivity there and just get fixated on that negativity. And I think it's just the wrong way to do it.
So be open-minded, try new things, see what works for yourself. Don't rule things out and just give things a go, even if it's out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That brings me to my next question, Zaf. You've got this book, Canny Bites. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. As part of my own sort of self-development journey, I've been looking at growing as a person and growing my sort of skill base and developing my skill base. So I've gone on a journey of writing, and I started off writing sort of shorter blogs. So I started off writing sort of short content for shorter videos. And I thought, what, this is something that I enjoy. Um, you know, I wouldn't have called myself a creative person. So more technical and more sort of maths and accounting. Not the fact that they can't be creative, but I wouldn't have put myself as a creative person. So for me, it was a journey where I wanted to sort of develop and grow. And for me, I set myself certain goals. Uh, One of it is being more comfortable in terms of presentations and having conversations in terms of interviews and keynote presentations and so forth. But the other one was really developing my writing skills. And I thought the best way to do this is to work towards writing a book. And what that does is sort of you start from the base of of really getting your thoughts on paper, and and one of the things I think you go back to your sort of school days and so forth. They try and get you to write your thoughts down, and because that's one fantastic way of expressing yourself. Not everybody can do it vocally, verbally, but to write it down is a different skill set. For me, it was an element of what do I believe in, what are my sort of thoughts, what if I was to share some words of wisdom with somebody else, how would I do it? And I started writing these things down. And initially, it started off as content for videos. I was on a content creation journey, and I thought, okay, what, this will help me with my goal of actually getting the book out there. So what this is it's a number of I call them bites of wisdom, but the number of sort of tips, nuggets of wisdom that somebody can take on board and implement, and they can go out there and either research or look at it in further, and and with the idea of it'll have a better impact in terms of their life and so forth. So for me, I want to do something from coming from a education training background as well, and I was really into how people learn, how people sort of what the learning styles are, and everybody has a different learning style. Everybody to a certain level. Um, Sort of develops in a different way. Some people are more comfortable in terms of visual. Some need to read things in terms of instructions, and some need to sort of see things and do certain things. So for me, I knew that, and I thought I wanted to write in a way which allows a visual person to also see. So there's a lot of graphics here, a lot of images here. It's written in a format which gets the message across, and there's a number of messages, and there's also questions there, which again is a section which I call chew on this. So I wanted to use my sort of learning and development background and understanding, how the brain works, how we think, how we sort of remember things, put it in a book, which makes a difference. Anybody, if anybody, anybody can write a book for their own sort of purpose, and we can say, I've written a book, and I'm not against that. I'm for it because it might have helped them as part of their own sort of way of expressing themselves. But I also wanted to do something where if somebody does read it, they'll hopefully remember. They'll hopefully have an element of impact on them, and they can do something with it. And that for me was the key. So I've some people say it's a cheat because I've done the videos and then I've sort of plated it together, but I'm very pleased with the end result. It was published in December 2017. There's videos that go alongside this. I'm currently posting quite a lot of videos on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and so forth. I've had some fantastic feedback as well. So
And how can people get their hands on it? It's called Canny Bites.
yeah, Canny Bites, 52 Bites of Wisdom for leaders and entrepreneurs. It is on Amazon. It's again, thank you for that. It is on Amazon, and they can just get it. It's $11.99 in terms of the physical book. This book is also on Kindle, but again, it's the book itself. Again, it's turning out to be a little bit of a promotion. The book itself, it's colorful, it's memorable, and even if there's something there that you can pick up with, then I think it's worth it. There's 8 chapters altogether,
and it's just little pearls of wisdom.
I like to call them. I like to call them pearls of wisdom or nuggets of gold. I mean, I call them bites of business wisdom. Networking is one of the chapters. Goal setting, goal getting, better you, better business. We talked about that. Decision making, how you can make the better decisions. Leadership, how you create a team, a winning team, growing your business, and technology. All the sort of things that regardless of where you are, there's something in here
that will help people.
And if it allows you then to maybe research that topic, if I put a name of a person in there, and then you go out and Google and YouTube it, and you go off on off on a journey, then I think it's a positive. And there's going to be something in there that just sort of is a taster for you. And if you want to then delve deeper into the subject matter, there's stuff out there that you can pick up and go on. And personally speaking, I think there's something here for most business leaders and entrepreneurs, regardless of where they are in their journey. And I'm very pleased with it.
So everyone get to Amazon and get your copy of Canny Bites. You won't be disappointed.
I hope not.
That brings me to my next question, Zaf. Can you share what's new for Zaf? What are you working on right now?
Okay, fantastic. We're a fairly diversified in terms of the business, so there's a number of things going on. So in terms of our skills business, our skills sector has changed considerably. Mark, you're talking about constant change and so forth, but the market has changed. We've got a new sort of funding methodology. There's reforms taking place, new set of compliances. The sector is getting tougher and tougher. A lot of rules going in. So as a business, we've had to sort of take on board and adapt and change to that, and relook at our business plan, and refocus. We've got some internal changes going on, new sort of management people on board, and we're sort of changing some of the areas that we're working in, specializing in other areas. We're changing that. So that's the day to day. We've in terms of the networking aspect of it, we've got a formula that works. So we're looking to grow that. So we're looking to grow our brand pathway to grow the coffee natter, chutney chat, and so forth. And we're really just talking to people that embrace that. So this conversation is taking place, and getting the right people on board to actually grow the networking events. We haven't gone and set ourselves strict targets to say, we want to have X amount of networking events in a year. We're taking an approach. If the director, if the person who wants to come on board is the right person, we'll consider it. So we are looking to grow, but it has to be on the back of the right individuals, and we're having meetings with people, and that's a constant sort of process that we go through. We've got the Asian Apprenticeship Awards coming up again in November. We're in our 3rd year. We've been lucky enough and privileged enough and honoured enough to have the RAF, the Royal Air Force, headline sponsoring the Asian Apprenticeship Awards now in our 3rd year. Nominations closed end of July, so we're going through all the sort of nominations that have come in, getting them ready for our judging to take place in a few weeks' time. Really looking forward to getting to know really who the finalists are going to be. I think the amount of people that have nominated this year has been unprecedented. I mean, large organisations. We had fantastic organisations and people last year and the year before, but this is just so varied. multinationals, nationals, SMEs, different setups, and different people as well. So it's been it's been fantastic to see the level of contribution and people, and also to a certain level to see the people who were successful the year before, the last year and the year before, in terms of their journey. So Asian Apprenticeship Awards end of November. So there's a little bit of work that goes in with that. The team are working hard and diligently to get that right. There's a lot of work that goes into this. I mentioned the fact that in March we did the Business Book Awards 2018, where sort of now discussing 2019. The lead time for this sometimes is huge. You're talking sometimes a year at least in terms of the lead time to the preparation. So we're looking at Business Book Awards 2019, which will probably be March in London next year. But there's work that's taking place now, and the team were in London, we in Norwich yesterday. We've had a number of meetings with key stakeholders for the last sort of 2 months, and there's more of that as well in terms of how do we move that forward. So Business Book Awards, really looking forward to that. Within our setup, we've got a foster care business as well. So really in the process of formally launching that. I think that's going to take place. Again, that's something we're really proud of. Again, we know it makes a fantastic difference in terms of social impact, and really something that we're very, very keen on. So the team congratulate them in terms of getting their approval from Ofsted, and we're putting the plans in terms of working with that. So there's a whole raft of things. And if you allow me to do another plug, if I may, there's a Canny Bites version 2 or the next book coming out as well, which I've just sort of adapted the name from this one, which is called Another 52 Bites of Business Wisdom for Leaders and Entrepreneurs. So I've seen the sort of final version of it, making some tweaks and some changes, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks maximum, we'll be launching that as well. So there's a few things there.
It sounds like exciting times for Pathway to grow, constantly growing. You've got enough to keep you going definitely for the next 12 months. There's a new Canny Bites book, and this one as well.
Yeah.
Lots of growth. I've really enjoyed interviewing you today.
Honestly, Mark, so much.
And before we go today, can you just tell everyone who's watching how they can get hold of you, how they can connect with you?
Okay, I am on social media. I'm a full social media aficionado, if I can call that. I really love it. I'm sort of constantly on it. I'm definitely doing a lot of work on LinkedIn. So Safaraz Ali on LinkedIn. Twitter handle is @Safaraz Ali, SAFARAZ Ali ALI. Facebook, got a page there. I've got my own sort of personal profile on there as well. Doing a lot of work on YouTube. So if you're really into your videos, I'm creating a lot of content for video. It's a YouTube page as well. That's called Safaraz. But the best thing I would suggest is just Google my name. Hopefully something will come up. Safaraz Ali, SAFARAZ Ali ALI, and you'll see all my sort of social media profiles and so forth. You can see a little bit about some of the things I've been tweeting about. A lot of judging as well. In the next sort of 3-4 months, being a judge on the National Apprenticeship Awards, which is the government's National Apprenticeship Awards. I'll be just done some. We'll be doing some judging for the Great British Entrepreneur Awards, judging for the Birmingham Awards. In the near future, we'll be judging for Signature Awards for next year. And there's a number of these opportunities that I'm lucky to be part of as well. So there's a whole raft of things. Again, the best thing I would suggest is just Google Safaraz Ali, and you'll find warts and all. You can probably read some of my articles on Medium and various things. But very, very open to anybody trying to connect with me. my details are there. Send me a tweet, DM message, or whatever the case is. My intention is always to respond. So I'm not, I don't, if I haven't responded, it's probably because I've missed it or whatever. But if anybody contacts me, I always try and respond and so forth. But thank you so much, Mark.
Be sure to connect with Safaraz. I've really enjoyed interviewing you today. Thank you, Safaraz. Thank you, everyone, for watching Brilliant Speaker. Until next time, bye, everyone.